Hello, and welcome to Channel Zero TV with John and John. I'm John,
And I'm John.
and tonight we're going to bring you another bit of obscure animation, an episode from the 1962 cartoon series Beany and Cecil. John, do you want to describe to folks a little bit about what they're about to watch?
Gee, Beany and Cecil is the adventures of Beany, the little blonde kid right there, and with ridiculous hat. His uncle, Captain Huff and Puff, they sail around the world in a boat called the Leaking Lena with their friend Cecil, the seasick sea serpent. And of course, off there it's Dishonest John, the inevitable antagonist villain of the series. And it's a series very, very freighted with a great deal of like satire and parody. It's very much ahead of its time and well worth rediscovering, in my opinion.
Got all that? If so, let's move on. If not, you'll understand more with this episode of Beany and Cecil and our conversation afterwards.
Manhattan's Madison Avenue is made of equal parts. Red tape, sponsors, agencies, and TV rating charts. They're among the obstacles with which our path is strewn. And now here's Beany and Cecil in a Bob Clampett cartoon. The Mad Isle of Mad Hatton. Well, men, we're now leaving the relatively calm and tranquil African jungle and heading for the most savage and terrifying region on the entire globe. The asphalt jungle of the Mad Isle of Mad Hatton. Goodness gracious! Crossing the Atlantic Ocean, we approach the Seven Wharfs and make our beachhead on Toots Shore. Then push inland through the dangerous flat bushman area, where you gotta be aware of the poison ivy leakers, taking us to the heart of the Mad Isle of Mad Hatton, Madison Avenue. Oh, brother. And note the tracks of the fedora-crested commuters, better known as the single-breasted gray flannel huckster. Gosh, what strange birds. But not half as strange, boy, as the Legal Eagles, dressed from head to toe in their lawsuits.
Gosh, what small print.
And beware, men, of the deadly noontime stingers. Beyond all this lies your goal, the capture of that rare bird, the last of the big-time spenders, Networkus sponsorus, commonly called a dodo.
Dodo? Did someone say double dough? Yeah, I'm all ears.
Now, Cecil boy, go capture this big dodo with our surefire sponsor bait TV package show. It's a real sleeper.
Sleeper? That calls for a shot of my dough spray. Pleasant dreams, la-da-da, la-da-da-da-da-da. Madison Avenue, here I come. I'll be rich.
Let's line it up the flagpole and see if it'll wave. Let's line it up the flagpole and see if it'll wave. Let's line it up the flagpole and see if it'll wave. Let's line it up the flagpole and see if it'll wave.
I'll run this up to the sponsor. I know it'll be a rave.
Really? Well, let's run it up the flagpole and see if it'll wave.
I'll let you know, account executive. I'm taking this direct to the sponsor.
But it isn't being done. Why, it's un-American.
What?
Hey, why we wrap up every TV package here in red tape? You've got to go through channels. And now for a preview of your TV show. Why, it's got everything. Chimpanzees, a baby, a talking horse, a dog, a small boy, a cowboy hero, mother love.
But...
First we do a little blue penciling, and then we shuffle. Cut. This is a big deal.
But...
First we devise, revise, reprise, revise. And then we revise the revision, and then revise the revised revision.
But.
And then cut.
But.
A snip, snip here, and snip, snip there, and here a snip, there a snip, everywhere, snip, snip. You shake it up a little. It looks better already.
You mean?
Yeah, well, you silly boy. First comes the greetings, meetings, memos and meltdowns, pep bills, uptowns, downtowns, contacts, contracts, gift packs and ice packs, and then the ratings. That's how things revolve, and that's what I like about the South. Central Park South, that is.
What a dizzy page.
By George, boy. Now the legal egalities. Now this is the usual toothless TV form contract, boy, wherein we guarantee you get exactly what you deserve. I mean, you really get what's coming to you. And of course, we get ours as follows. We take 50% off the top, finder's fee is 20%, loser's fee 20%, and 9% for the sponsor. The remainder is all yours if 1%.
1%?
You sign right here in the crooked line. Right here, please. That's fine. By George, onto the rating machine, in it goes. Now we check the charts. They look great. Let the viewers of America speak through the polls, boy. We check them all. Maypole, barber polls, tadpoles, scalping polls, and especially telephone polls.
Telephone polls?
Oh, yes, boy. We believe in letting the great American public decide what they want to see.
Ready with your call to the little old lady in Pasadena, sir.
Yeah, hello. What do you think, doll? Really? Really? Gee, well, thank you, little old lady from Pasadena. The vote is in. The masses, the people, all America has voted, and here comes the answer. Will it be a hit or a miss?
A miss?
No, it's a hit.
I'm cracking up.
Come on now, boy. This is no time to go to pieces, man. Pull yourself together. If the sponsor likes it, yeah, he loves it.
But I'm made?
Except for one last little formality. The sponsor's wife has to like it, too.
Should I? I mean, does she?
Yes, and her verdict is...
No. Thumbs down. Hi, fellas. Sorry I'm late, but somebody stitched my first TV package, and I had to go all the way back to the jungle to get another one. I call my show Ben Cagey, WD.
WD?
Yeah, witch doctor.
Ben Cagey, what a great title! And medical shows are all the rage this season. Look, the sponsor likes it! And the sponsor's wife?
Yes, I like it. With him, I can identify. Oh, doctor, let me tell you about my operation. I just knew I was right. But what about these fainting spells, doctor? Oh, thank you. Just like I was telling Dr. Chilled Air.
She likes it! She likes it! Yippee! Well, Cease, baby, you're finally in the dodo.
Oh, thank you, sir.
So I guess that's what you might call a meta cartoon. Usually episodes of Beany and Cecil had our titular heroes on some kind of adventure on the ship looking for quest, and the villain is out to stop them, and it is Beany with his propeller-driven beanie, with which he can actually fly, and Cecil to the rescue. But I think you saw a lot more going on with this. So, John, want to give folks some of the background and pedigree of this intriguing cartoon?
Is it me, or did somebody have an axe to grind here? I'm I'm still working my way through it. I can't believe an attack on the television industry circa 1962 got filtered through this children's show so relentlessly.
Well, you remember this episode was in 1962. This is the era really when you had shows like Bullwinkle that did sort of blur the line between sweet, silly kid TV stuff and trying to say something about something.
And Beany and Cecil, just from show to show, just survived a lot on all kinds of satire, parody, bad puns, and the glue that held it together is, and I think in every single episode, Dishonest John always comes to an extremely violent and humiliating end. He's always getting run through wood chippers or thrown to the sharks or something like that. And the show gets away with it in the context of 1962 because as he's plunging into this ocean full of sharks, he'll always stop and look at the viewer and say something like, don't you think there's too much violence in children's television? And then resume plunging to his inevitable annihilation.
Now, Beany and Cecil actually goes back further than this cartoon. It started in the 50s as a puppet show.
Right. Bob Clampett left Warner Brothers in 1945. He moved over to Columbia, and then he went independent. And then in 1950, he had this idea for this show called Beany and Cecil. He wanted to do it as an animated program, but he really only had enough money to do it as a puppet show. So Beany and Cecil started out as a very successful puppet show. It was co-written, by the way, by Stan Freberg, the great Stan Freberg, who also provided some of the voices because, of course, he himself was a very talented voice man. And the show was staggeringly popular. It had a lot of adult apologists, reputedly Albert Einstein, Groucho Marx. And in those days, it was called Time for Beany. And it ran for about 5 years, hugely successful. And then 7 years later, producers came to Bob Clampett and said, we want to bring back Beany and Cecil, but this time we want to do it as an animated cartoon in color. And of course, he took the bait immediately. And it's to me, it's a very early example of one of those sort of rapid turnaround remakes that we see all the time these days.
Right, but they sort of puppet showed animation. I think earlier in Channel Zero, we took a look at a quite remarkable Howdy Doody cartoon, but that kind of went nowhere. It was Howdy Doody was wildly popular as a puppet show, but it never really kind of transitioned from that. This sort of made more of a seamless transition from live, quote unquote, puppet action to cartoon.
Well, I mean, I think the advantage there is clearly in the writing. I mean, they just went after everything. They went after Hollywood. They went after Madison Avenue. They went after TV. They made fun of the space program. At one point, Cecil, who's a serpent, by the way, and has no real appendages, throws on a cape and becomes Super Cecil. How he puts the cape on is yet another one of those existential questions eternally wrestling with. So, I mean, the show just, did the smart thing and the right thing is they just accumulated a lot of like good targets.
Right. If I recall, Dishonest John also had an alter ego as a super villain versus the kind of simple black clad villain that he is normally. And Clampett was an interesting transitional figure. I mean, he made some of Warner Brothers' most memorable, surreal Porky Pig cartoons, moved on to do a wildly popular puppet show, and then moved into this cartoon, which is really sort of contemporary and similar to Bullwinkle in terms of both capturing a child audience with its sort of innocence, but also intriguing an adult audience with its commentary.
Right. And I would also point out that Beany and Cecil is just a better example of animation overall than Bullwinkle. I mean, Bullwinkle was animated down in Mexico and has all kinds of like very famous glitches and problems and, things like that. But Beany and Cecil, I think because they have, a veteran of Warner Brothers at the top, it's just smoother looking animation. I mean, it's still limited animation. It just looks better. And it plays better on the small screen. But I guess Bob Clampett and Jay Ward and Bill Scott, they all had the same sort of, general notion is you could just get away with a lot more in a children's series, just in terms of like making fun of things.
Yeah, and I think the key was that they were kind of writing for themselves and maybe for each other.
Right. And I don't want to say the children are an afterthought, but the assumption is that if we do a good show, that kids will watch.
And adults, including Albert Einstein, will watch as well. So anyway, well, appreciate your joining us for another episode of Channel Zero TV. We'll be back next time. But until then, I'm John.
And I'm John.
And keep the candle burning.